So I just want to first off say it's an absolute pleasure to actually get to speak with you. I'm a huge, huge fan. Um,
Thank you.
so for my first question, you're not, distant from iconic movies, nor are you distant from biopics. What was it like to take on an icon? And like, what made you want to take it on and tell it in the way that you told it?
I had a personal experience with Whitney. Um, and I think I would be drawn to her story anyway. Um, even if I didn't know her, but I did know her. And that really weighed on my deciding to do it, why I decided to do it, and in some ways how and what kind of storytelling I wanted to bring to it. I
Okay,
wrote 2 scripts for Whitney early on, kind of at the height
really?
of her career, early on in my writing career. Um, and I was very moved by her, who she kind of who she was as a woman versus the image that we all had of her. And I wanted to bring both of those things into this movie.
Okay, so now I have to skip around because you said that. So one of my questions was, you touched or you brought to the forefront a lot of her behind the scenes that I think the image that most of her fans have of her is not what it was like behind the scenes. Not that in a bad way, but just to really know her is to know what you told, in my opinion. I think you told if you're a part of the family, this is the side of her you see.
Yeah.
Um, when it came to telling certain things, like making sure that Robin was like a very important factor in it, touching upon her drug habit prior to Bobby, things that have been said before but not told this way. Why on those, especially those two, did you decide to make them a little bit more prevalent?
Yeah, that was very important to me. I wouldn't have done if we weren't telling at least part of the Robin story, I wouldn't have done the movie. That was I think very commendable of the estate to be willing to do, because they have a lot of emotion around it. But to be willing to go there, and it was very important for me. Um, when I was a young actor and dancer and in the New York, scene coming up, we all knew about Robin. We all knew about Robin. Whitney was always with Robin. And we of course we weren't in the room, so it's speculation, but we were always like, what about Robin? Like when she married Bobby, we're like, well, what about Robin? And there was all this discussion, and because we felt like we knew her, but that was at least from the New York art scene, that was something that we knew about her. And then having read all of the books and seen the documentaries, um, I knew that there was a story there, and there was a story that needed to be told. This was a significant relationship for Whitney, and Robin stayed in her life for decades. Right? I mean, that this is
Yeah.
just the facts. Robin stayed in her life for decades, and long after their physical relationship was over, Robin and they had a real friendship. And so, you're telling the story of a woman, tell the story of her best friend as well, so that was super important to me. This was a very, very deep friendship. She trusted Robin. Robin had her back. Everybody that I talked to, or almost everybody that I talked to, that knew Whitney said, Robin had her back. And it's important to have that character that had Whitney's back in the movie, and really to investigate their relationship. I think it hasn't really been done, and I thought it was important. In terms of Bobby, Bobby, that was a complex relationship, but the drugs were a Whitney thing, you know. Um, it, it's just incorrect to say that Bobby brought her down with drugs. That's just not what happened. I think they had some codependency, and we're all familiar with those kind of relationships. But I think it was important for her to say, that wasn't, I don't blame you for that. The drugs were here before you got here. And that's just the facts. The drugs were always part of Whitney's life from when she was young. It was her brothers and her, she was exposed to it. She was around it, and she indulged in it from an early age. And it was a Whitney thing. I mean, Whitney, she was the last one who wanted to leave, right?
Mm.
She was a party girl, and And it was one of her demons. And she said that, she said that, the biggest demon, the biggest devil is me, right? I'm my own worst enemy.
Yeah. Now, in regards to, because it seemed also in telling it, you kind of told the story of the family you're born into
Yeah.
versus the family that you build.
Right.
Because I thought it was very interesting, the distinct relationships, like having Robin still there, her like loving Bobby despite it all.
Yeah.
What made you tell that aspect in regards to the family that you're born into versus
Well, I mean, I think the family story was super important to me, and that gets to my personal experience with Whitney. When I met Whitney for the first time, I met John, and it was really this startling kind of situation, because obviously she's an icon. She's at the height of her career. I'm desperate for her to do my movie. But we had a kind of awkward meeting, and it was awkward because she wasn't in great form. She was tired. She was high. She was very human, and a real woman that had some rough edges, sitting in front of me, kind of laughing at herself, laughing at the state she was in. And I was moved by her. And then her father, who had been in the same meeting, cornered me and started talking about the brand. And I was shook, honestly, I was shook by that meeting. And I went on to, he pitched me a script that he wanted me to write for her. And I went on to write that script, not in the way that he pitched it to me, something completely different, actually. But I was a little shook by John Huston and the way he looked at his daughter. I mean, it was obviously a real father-daughter relationship. He obviously loved her, but he said the words, "I want her to be Barbie." And I thought, you want that Black woman that I just met with, who maybe needs some support and some understanding and a nap. You want her to be Barbie. That it struck me. And when I read the script and I saw, oh, this is part of the script, and this is a part I really want to bring out, it interested me, and I knew that I was going to lean into that. And then Robin is in many ways the family that she found. And Bobby, it's like, fuck all you, I'm with Bobby Brown, and and he's my man, and what you gonna say? And I kind of wish she could have said that about Robin. I kind of wish she could have said, hey, whatever you say, this is my boo, this is who I'm with, and she's got my back.
I would say I kind of took that with her dad saying, like, you have to go out and date if you want her to be on your team. I kind of took that as her trying to have some type of control. Like, I still want her, so I'll listen to you and do this as long as she's there.
As long as she's there.
Yeah.
And even when she had to do that, she's like, look, I need my best friend. Like, I need you in my life. I need you in my life. And our friendship is the most important thing.
Yeah.
And I think that happens in relationships a lot.
Yeah, I definitely think you definitely humanized her in a way that, we know her as an icon. I think you brought her into a more, you told a story that a lot of people can more relate to better see she was very human with the limelight and trying to put themselves in her shoes.
Yes, exactly.
So moving on to casting, this is definitely a question. I have a pretty engaged following, and everybody's excited, but I would say the one critique, in a sense, is picking a British actress.
Right.
In casting, sorry.
Yeah, no, please continue.
Well, in casting, obviously you picked her for her talent overall.
It's so funny because I've had to answer this question on 2 different movies. And the funny thing is, and the very, very real thing is, both of those actresses had the part a year before I came on. And I'm the one that picked the wonderful American actresses that surrounded them. So it's just not my issue that way. But it does very, very much affect me deciding to come on both Harriet and I Want to Dance with Somebody, because I thought, is there value in me as an African-American woman helping to tell this story? Can I help them through this process? This story is important to me. I don't want to see it fucked up. Can I help her bring Whitney to the audience? So I didn't say, nah, I'm not going to do that. She's British. I mean, I didn't do that, but nor did I cast her.
Okay.
I took the opportunity to work with somebody that I thought was tremendously talented on a story that I thought needed to be told. And I thought my perspective as an African-American woman who knew Whitney, that was valuable. So yes, I've decided to do 2 movies with women who are Black women. These are Black women. And when I met Naomi, we related on a Black woman level that was absolutely effortless. There was no country between us.
Yeah.
We related as Black women. We related as Black women who had lost a very close family member to the same disease. We related just on some sister shit, So, sometimes the passport shit bugs me, but I get it. I get it. But I'm looking at myself and my experience and my Blackness and my womanhood and my Americanness and saying, can I bring this to this project? Can I be helpful? Can I help this actress do something incredibly brave and difficult in creating and bringing this person that we all adored, to life. So that, I mean, that's just the truth. It's not like, it's just the truth. She had the job. That wasn't going to change. What the question was I going to come on to the project? Was I going to do the movie? And yes, I made the decision to do the movie with a British actress. And I think she's phenomenal.
I absolutely love that. And I appreciate you speaking on it, because that's definitely, and I understand the conversation.
Me too.
Yeah, I definitely understand the conversation. I would love for more people to just, always have that open dialogue in regards to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, speaking of, you did say that you had a part of the other casting. And I love seeing newer actresses and actors getting these roles, because talent is everywhere. And I think the bigger conversation is giving actors who are actually studying it these opportunities.
Yeah.
So in regards to picking like how fresh they were in the industry, did that play a part? Or was it just strictly like they just were extremely talented, but did like the experience play a part?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it was chemistry. So I knew Tamara Tooney is my best friend. So I knew Tamara. Tamara was the voiceover in Eve's Bayou. She was in Caveman's Gone Time, my second film. I've known her forever. So, I called her and said, hey, do you think you could play Sissy Houston? Do you and would you mind auditioning? And she did, but it was really when I saw her with Naomi that they had that chemistry, that I'm like, okay, this is right.
Yeah.
This is right. Clark Peters, had done Harriet with me. So I knew Clark and I knew he would be great for John. I knew he could have that edge, and that both the warmth and the edge that John had. And Nafisa was pure chemistry. I was looking at actresses. I didn't know her. She read with Naomi, and they lit it up. And I was like, okay, they have chemistry. And it was the same with Ashton. I saw a chemistry read between Ashton and Naomi, and they just leaned into each other, and there was something going on there that was interesting, So really I picked that. It was pure casting. I just cast it like these are the people that are best for the roles. And yeah, and I loved those actors. Yeah. Stanley Tucci, we all wanted Stanley, and I wanted Stanley, and I was not going to take no for an answer. I would have camped out at his house. I would have stalked him. But fortunately we got him to say yes.
And what is probably, although you've known her before, what would you say is probably the most surprising thing you learned about her while doing this?
I think, though it's obvious, there's something about her need for the love from the audience that is really interesting. that she fed off that relationship. Um, it was very, very surprising to me that she didn't make more albums.
Mm,
We know so many songs, but when you really look at it, she didn't make that. She did a lot of performing
yeah.
and not as much recording. And that was surprising to me. And just the energy that she got from it was not always a healthy place for her to be on tour, was not healthy for her and her weaknesses.
Yeah.
But that relationship with the audience was it was a love story. And it was something she needed, that love, and she needed love on that level. And that fueled her. Uh, that was something that was surprising and that I learned. And then her relationship with Clive. I mean, we all know about her relationship with Clive, and yet I learned a lot about her, how influential and instrumental she was in adapting the music, in kind of rewriting it to her Whitney style, how she could take a Dolly Parton song and listen to it, you know, as done by, Linda Ronstadt. I mean, these versions of these songs, and yet say, no, that's a Whitney song.
Yeah.
Like, she could see herself in it. She could know where she was going to take it to musically, and that she was such a quick study that she could hear the song once or twice and then adapt it.
Yeah.
So just the level of her genius.
What would you say you learned about yourself in this process?
I learned, wow, I haven't actually answered this question this way before. Um, but I learned that I'm brave. It's like, I kind of knew that with Harriet too. It's like, okay, I can lean into something difficult.
Yeah.
But in this one, I really, it's like, okay, I don't know what part of me is the part of me that can take on the Whitney Houston movie, but but I can. And I did it pretty quickly. I came in late in prep. I came in about halfway through prep,
Ah,
and it was a monumental amount of work to take on. It had so many elements, and real people that were there. It was a lot to take on, and I kind of found um I found that I'm brave, and that I can lean into difficult things. And so did Whitney, and so did Naomi.
mm,
And I found a kinship. There was a kinship between me and Whitney and Naomi that had to do with just the work and our willingness to work that hard, and a kind of a work ethic.
okay. And last question. What are you hoping that the audience takes away?
I'm hoping that you take away this feeling of that we were graced with this presence. We didn't always appreciate it, but now we do, and ultimately we did. And this is an opportunity to appreciate it and celebrate it again. Um, that this extraordinarily gifted woman shared her talent with us for a period of time. She was with us, and now she's not, but the music lives on. And it was a great gift that we got from Whitney Houston.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank
This
you.
is amazing to speak to you. And yeah, I loved it. So I'm excited to see what everybody has to say.
Yep.
So yeah, I appreciate the conversation.
Thank you so much.